Good
morning, members. This is a special meeting of the Establishment Subcommittee. There's only one item on the agenda. We're here to consider the application for late membership from 17 members. This is a continuation of the special meeting held on the 3rd of December last year to consider the applications for late membership from the 17 members. The relevant application letters were circularized to members on the 8th of October and 10th of October via electrical papers ESC 5/1415 and ESC 6/1415 respectively. At a meeting on the 3rd of December, I considered members' representations and decided to deal with the applications from the members, the 70 members, individually. On that day, the subcommittee considered and vetoed the application from Mr. Chan Kim Paul. Subsequently, on the 15th of December, I wrote to the other 17 members who have submitted late applications to invite them to attend another special meeting or to provide supplementary information in writing. As at the 5th of January, all 70 members have provided a written response. Mr. Paul Jia has indicated that he would attend today's meeting. Dr. Lo Wai Kwok has provided written supplementary information in writing, but he will not attend any special meeting. The other 15 members have also confirmed in writing that they will not attend any special meeting nor provide any supplementary information to support their late application. So please refer to ESC 30/1415(01) to 09 for the written submissions from these members. They have been circularized to members on the 8th of January. In accordance with the existing practice of the committees of LegCo, when a member's application for lay membership is accepted, it will take effect immediately. In other words, if an application is accepted for lay membership, that member will be allowed to participate in the remaining part of today's meeting and to vote, discuss, to be involved in a discussion and vote on the applications of other members. As Mr. Paul Jia is attending today's meeting, I have decided to consider his application first. As for the other 16 members have indicated in writing that they will not attend any special meeting nor provide any supplementary information. The subcommittee will consider these applications after we have dealt with Mr. Paul Jia's. Let me propose, it's a proposal, let me propose the order in dealing with the 16 applications. You are free to comment on the proposal. I'm going to make reference to the practice of the PWSC, Public Works Subcommittee. It's just a reference. We are talking about two different subcommittees here. I'm going to make reference to the decision made by the PWSC on the 13th of January, and I have instructed the clerk to list out the applications in accordance with the time or date of the submission of these applications. If there's no time record, then those submitted on the same day will be handled in the same lot. If we cannot decide on the order through this, we would be dealing with them in accordance with the order on the President's list. So please take a look at the proposed order projected on the screen. So that's all I want to say about today's agenda. Members, any comments or alternative proposals? Mr. Leung Kok-hong, why? Why do we want to adopt this order, apart from Mr. Paul Chair? The other members have written in to indicate that they are not going to attend any special meeting, and that includes Dr. Low Wai Kwok. Is that the case, Clark? Yes. Dr. Low Wai Kwok has provided supplementary information, but he will not attend any special meeting. So that's the order you proposed. Is that in alphabetic order of the surnames? Well, that's in the order of the time of submission of the application. So why? It seems that it's in alphabetical order, and it's rather random. No, it's in the order of the time of submission of their applications. Is that okay? Oh, okay. Mr. Alan Leung. We have 17 members applying for late membership. Do they know that we are now proposing to adopt this order as projected on the screen? No. As the chairman has said, he has made reference to the decision made by the PWSC on the 13th of January, and he would like to adopt the same principles. As I've said, the decision of the PWSC is not a precedence case for the ESC. So it's just a proposal. I propose to deal with those applications in accordance with the time of submission of their applications. So I heard that you have made reference to the practice of the PWSC. So in this connection, I would like to say, or to put on record of the ESC, that on that day, when the PWSC consider the applications for lay membership and the collective wisdom was that the order is very important, because whether you can join the subcommittee would depend on those whose applications were considered before yours. Therefore, at the PWSC, we felt that it would be important to inform all those members concerned, because they should be informed of this proposed order and made by referring to the decision of PWSC and by referring to our rules of procedure, because they would have to be informed that their chance will be affected by the order. I would like to put on record that there was such a discussion at the PWSC, and the proposal was adopted by a majority of the members in the PWSC. Other members, any further comments? All right, I will inform the proposed order. I will inform the members of the proposed order. Mr. Wong Ting Kwong. For today's meeting, the other 16 members are not going to attend, apart from or except Mr. Paul Chair. Although the rule stipulates that if the application is accepted, it will take immediate effect. But since they are not here, the 16 members are not here, they will only be informed of the decision after our meeting. So the problem referred to by Mr. Alan Leung will not happen. Although all along the opposition camp and the pro-establishment camp have different views, but we do have an understanding on the work of the Council. But now we have this within this term. I think the public are fully aware of such a situation. If you continue to play tricks, you should consider the consequence. What's the point of dragging on? We should come to a decision. Because if you continue like this, the best you can do is to drag on for a year.
If you want to drag on for another meeting, we're just wasting our time, wasting taxpayers' money. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wong Ting Kwong. Any other members? Mr. Yu Si Wing, to be followed by Miss Emily Lau. Mr. Yu? Chairman, it was said that if approval was given to these 17 members, then they would be able to attend the meeting immediately. That is including Mr. Paul Tse. If they all agree to join, then we have an increase in the total number of members. But if we continue in their absence, then we don't have a quorum. So does it mean that the meeting will be aborted? This is a hypothetical question. I'm not going to answer unless you would like to reduce the quorum to less than 1/3. I'm not going to deal with it for now. But this is not a hypothetical question because it may very well happen. The way I see it, if that happens, and if the quorum is increased, well, the quorum of this subcommittee is 7. Well, it's very low, 7. And it's very different from the quorum for the Council. There's no need to give me any explanation. Ms. Lau, I would like to reply to Mr. Wong Ting Kwong. He did not tell the whole of the truth. Over the years in the LegCo, there has been tacit understanding. Yes. We're not very happy because we have a lot of votes. However, we are the minority here in this council, although we have the majority vote in an election. Yes, there has been a tacit agreement as to how to conduct business. However, last year, starting from October, in our discussion, they said that they would snatch up all the chairmanship and deputy chairmanship of important panels and committees. And that is very different from our previous agreement. Last year, well, we were up in arms and it was widely covered by the press. But there was nothing we could do, and we put up with it for a year. In October last year, well, in our discussion, well, to be honest, it left a bitter taste in our mouths. We tried to negotiate with them, and they said there is no room for negotiation. If that is the case, then we should just carry on our business, do it our own way. If you don't have enough people, then you will lose the chairmanship. And that is very different from the tacit agreement we had in the past. And they kept telling people, including the president, that we refuse to cooperate. And I took the chance to explain to the president that starting from last year, they have hogged a lot of places. And if they started to not cooperate, then we're only following. Everything happens for a reason. It is not the case that we have betrayed anyone or reneged on our promises. I've been a legislator for many years. I fully understand the operation of this tacit understanding, and it was 2 years ago when there was no room for negotiation. We could only pick up the crumbs. We put up with it last year, and so starting from this legislative year, we asked them to just cooperate with us, but they said that there would be no room for negotiation, save and except maybe 10% of the chairmanship. So when it comes to betraying an agreement, one has to tell the whole truth, the whole of the history. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, I did not participate in that tacit agreement between the Democrats and the Loyalists. Of course, I understand that there should be some kind of tacit understanding and agreement here. Well, whether it is universal suffrage or not, if the opposition refuse to cooperate with the ruling party, of course, there will be no future. But what happened was that everything started when C.Y. Leung took office. His way of ruling is just like what my mom told me when I was young, that they wanted to have a lion's share of everything. You can't reason with them, and this is what we have now. When I was in jail last time, I asked Mr. Albert Chan to move some motions for me, but my request was rejected. Well, I couldn't take up too much of your time, and I was thrown into jail, and I asked someone else to just do my work for me. However, my request was denied. But when you're pointing a finger at someone else, 4 fingers are actually pointing at yourself. Well, if you want reconciliation, ask C.Y. Leung to stop what he's doing. He criticized university students. Well, I don't know whether there is actually a ruling party here. Maybe yes, maybe no. Well, advise C.Y. Leung to to not be excessive. Tong Chi-hwa is going to speak soon. Well, maybe soon Xi Jinping is going to say something as well. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't come to sign up. There's no need to scold anyone because it's useless. But it takes 2 to tango, even in a reconciliation. if the government is to operate, then there needs to be some kind of concession. Let me say it again. CY Leung. Well, in the Finance Committee, 4 have been taken away. 4 items have been taken away. He was asked to take some items away so that civil servants will see their pay rise as soon as possible, but that was refused. And now they want funding approval for the information and for the Innovation and Technology Bureau. You have to tell CY Leung it doesn't work. If LegCo can't operate, then neither can the LegCo. CH Tong has already started helping Anthony Leung to be the next figure. There's a kind of hegemony here. We asked them to negotiate, but we were told that there is no room for negotiation. So, well, that's fair enough. Then we will just do things ourselves. We see that we have lost a lot of chairmanship. This is the only one. This is one of the few that we have taken the chairmanship. Maybe 2 out of 18. Most of them have been snapped up by the loyalists. There has been tacit agreement. However, this year they refused to talk, and that's why it ends up like this. And you say that we were delaying your application, but you now have 17 people coming in because you want to be the majority again. We don't want you to be the majority, to be honest. We have to be the majority so that we can help Hong Kong people to monitor the government. Well, the FC, the PWSC and the ESC are committees and subcommittees in which we were the minority. As a result, everything was endorsed. There has been a lot of white elephant and lots of useless posts created. We want to keep the gate for Hong Kong people. I'll be frank with you. Yes, we want to delay your application because we don't want you to have the advantage. We want to keep the advantage ourselves. And of course, Mr. Porter is here. We are happy to deal with his application. But for the other 16, I don't know whether it should be like PWSC to put them in the order of seniority or time. It was said in the PWSC that it should follow time. Yes, I know that. You don't have to answer me. Well, we can deal with Mr. Porter. For the others, I think the order should be reshuffled because the order will affect the application. We can't assume that all 16 share the same mind. They may have a different opinion, and it may affect voting. Anyone else who would like to speak? Well, in relation to the order, I've heard members, and I've also heard Mr. Wong Ting Kwong. He has a point. Well, the 17 members are not here, but as soon as they are allowed to join, then they have the voting right. They may not know themselves. They may not even be aware that they themselves will affect those that come after them. Well, I don't think you object to this order. I think I should use the time when they indicate they would like to join. And this should be the order. And we will put it to a vote next time in this order. The 17 members do not know that once they join, they have the right to vote. I'll ask the clerk to make that clear. And this list will also be given to them. Mr. Porter is here. I thank him for that. We will deal with Mr. Zhe's application first. Well, since there is only one application, there won't be any time limit. I'll first give Mr. Porter time to state why he would like to join as a member out of time and why he's joining out of time. First, two apologies.
My application was late, and therefore, because of this, you have to convene the special meetings. Now our schedule is already very tight, and we are very busy, and it's not really something good. And I was unable to attend the meeting on the 2nd of December because I was out of town for other business. The reason why I submitted my application for membership late is because of the workload, because I participate in quite a number of meetings and panels, and I originally did not want to add another one scheduled for 8:30, but there are three reasons why I want to join late. Well, there are many incidents in the community, and things are rather chaotic, so I would like to devote more time to make sure that the work of this council is smoother. And I always adopt this stance. However different our political views may be, we should have mutual respect, and we should adopt some proper etiquette. I think members from the legal professions will understand this. You may argue very ferociously in the court, but you will always act with mutual respect, and you always call your opponent counsel my learned friend. I think this is a culture that we should foster in this council so that we can better serve the interests of the community. Some members have referred to the tacit understanding, tacit agreement. I think we should all work hard to foster a quality council culture. And second, I hope that because of my background, I will be able to contribute to the collective wisdom when it comes to rules or procedure and other related issues. And as you can see from the observation of Mr. Alan Leung in relation to the proposed order, I think people with a legal background is able to assist in the smooth conduct of electrical business. And when the community is facing chaos, and as the lyric of a song states, is bridge over troubled water. I hope with members from different political backgrounds, I will be able to offer a voice of neutrality, and also to allay the members' concern. I would like to make 2 points. For subsequent applications for lay membership, even if my application is accepted, I'm not going to vote on the other applications. And also I will stand by in order to ensure that we have a quorum. And I may not be in this room, but I will still be out there to stand by to ensure this. All right. Any questions, comments on Mr. Paul Chair's application? If you want to speak, please press the button.
Mr.
Lee Chuk-yan.
即係我諗謝永正議員亦都講咗佢嘅理由啦。
So Mr. Paul Chair has stated his case. Well, you are from the pro-establishment camp. Of course, it's good that you are willing to attend this special meeting. It serves as a model for how we should deliberate here. But the other members are willing to attend the meeting. I'm not saying that this is a ground for your admission, but from what you have heard in your discussion with them, is it that they all want to join? All 17 of them want to join the ASC. Do you know why all 17 of them will like to join together? Thank you. There's no discussion as such. We knew that there were far fewer ESC members than the pan-Democrats. So that's why we wanted to join. There was no discussion or the deliberation as regards why they were all late in submitting their applications. Ms. Emily Lau, I thank Mr. Paul Chair for attending this meeting and for his elaboration on the grounds for his application. I don't know whether when I last spoke a moment ago that he's with us. I don't know whether he is aware of the roots of the current problems and whether he was actually a part of it. And that is the pro-establishment camp decided a year ago to monopolize all the chairmanships and deputy chairmanship of our panels and committees. Mr. Chairman, you may recall that on one occasion, Mr. Leung Kok-hong came in short pants, and the president was alerted by some member, and the case was dealt with. And the president said that if that's the case of one member wearing short pants, he could deal with that. But if more than 20 members do the same, then how can the president deal with such a situation? That means a total breakdown. Dozens of members doing that together. And that's the importance of a tacit agreement. We should honor a gentleman's promise. And after 10 odd years of doing that, some members decided not to honor that agreement. I would like to ask Mr. Paul Chair whether he is aware of that or is in favor of that kind of approach. Of course, I'm aware of that. I think different camps should be willing to talk to each other, and there should be a tacit agreement to cooperate and to offer some room of mutual respect should be offered, so that we are qualified, we are prepared to talk about democracy and democratic development. We are highly developed in terms of the rule of law, but it seems that we are still in the development stage for council democracy. Since the major mass protests lasting for 79 days, and we certainly would do something to nurture a better council culture. My questions are like this. Is it aware of the reason why we are not cooperating with other members? Does he understand this? Has he done anything to offer some way out? Of course, I heard the member. Well, I'm just one member. I don't belong to any camp for this term. My experience in trying to get to be chairman is nothing satisfactory. Well, he's deputy chairman of some committee. Why does he say that he is not influential? Chen Ji-chin. More than 10 members apply for lay membership to join the PwC and this subcommittee. The two chairmen of the two subcommittees have said that these members would be able to participate and speak, and your right to attend meetings will always be respected. The only thing different is the right to vote. And the administration has indicated that for items rejected by the PwC and ESC can also be dealt with by the Finance Committee. So the right to vote is not really crucial. So do you want to come back at every ESC at 8:30, taking the risk of causing the meeting to be aborted by your absence? If the administration can just bypass the two subcommittees and items can be put to the Finance Committee direct, is that really important for these members to join to vote on the applications? But there are three factors to consider. Of course, as non-members, we can offer our comments anytime we want. But in terms of the participation, there's a difference whether you have the vote or not. And also, in terms of interaction with the administration for controversial items, the administration may be willing to discuss and lobby members. So there's a difference here for non-members vis-à-vis members. So I believe that it would be more appropriate and there would be a greater sense of participation if I am a member. As for the Finance Committee, I think we should take things one step at a time. You should not think about taking the case to an appeal court when you are dealing with the case in the first instance. And I hope this council would refrain from doing things that are not for the public interest. We should abide by our rules, and we should be role models to the community, that we can be players in a quality democracy. Well, I have one further question. Since you are so keen to join the ESC, as I've said, even if you are not a member, you can attend our meeting. So, if your application is rejected, would you be joining us in our meetings? I think it's Mr. Leung Kok-hong who raised this in the PWSC meeting. Can we have a sort of probation? That's not my suggestion. I'm just asking the member whether he's really that keen to join the ESC. If your application is rejected, are you going to join us all the same? Thank you for your question. Well, we're all members here. Not every meeting or every item will interest a member. So I will do my job properly. The idea of a probationary period is innovative but rather risky. So would that apply to the existing members? If the attendance rate is poor, would that member be expelled?
Mr. Ng Leung Sing, thank you. I remember there is a Chinese saying that if you are colluding with a tiger, then in the end it may harm yourself. And my hat off to Mr. Paul there because he's actually doing exactly the same thing. I would like to respond to what Ms. Emily Lau said, that there has always been some kind of tacit agreement, but it's only Ms. Lau's word that the agreement has been broken. Ms. Kok Kim is not here, and I think it's not fair. So I have reservation, because it's only her word that the agreement to negotiate has been broken. I think it's for Ms. Lau and Mr. Kok Kim to talk about it. I ask members to save time. There has been a discussion. Let's put it to a vote. Questions been asked and letters have been sent. Well, if you agree, then you are. If you don't, then you don't. Let members decide. This will be a preferred option instead of dragging it. We understand why the other members don't come. Members can choose to answer or not. Mr. Tse, do you want to reply? I may thank Mr. Ng's support, but I don't agree with what he said. I'm not colluding with a tiger. But the feeling is mutual. We may belong to different camps, and sometimes we think they are tigers. Yes, I am quite persistent. Maybe it's just an occupational hazard. If any loyalists feel uncomfortable with what I'm doing, I apologize, because I feel that this is my calling. Mr. Leung Kok-hong, I think what Mr. Ng Leung Sing is talking about is just unilateralism. It's a term coined, or at least a term coined by the Communist Party to describe Western countries like the U.S. We are not the unilateralists. We are the minority here. Well, it's just that somehow maybe our prayers have been answered, that we become the majority here. I did not ask you not to sign up. Why are you so sad? We just do what you're doing. get on with your business. I think it's candles in the wind. Well, listen to the song. It's a very good song. Well, this is actually the aftermath of constitutional reform. It was properly done, then I wouldn't be doing this for you, because I would rather be reading some books. Think about what Siwa Leung has done, because there is always comeuppance. You call them the opposition. Of course, there will be comeuppance. Because you advocate class struggle as your plan or strategy. Let me point out a simple truth to you. When we talk about constitutional reform, yesterday Mr. James Tian asked a very good question. If there is no universal suffrage for CE election, does it mean that there is no universal suffrage for electoral members? Yes. The answer is abundantly clear. If you don't pocket it, then there won't be universal suffrage for electoral members. And you try to threaten us with that. Well, the Communist Party talks about national security. That's why they have to be extra careful when it comes to the CE election. Well, the central authority appoints the chief executive. I have a question for the Communist Party. According to our constitution, well, because C.Y. Leung says that, well, electoral members are elected by Hong Kong people. They don't have to be appointed by the central authority. There needs not to have a certificate of appointment, but they want to poke their nose in. Well, as to when Hong Kong people will be able to elect their electoral members by universal suffrage, and they want to poke their nose in and meddle in it. When there is a system by which members can go straight to the Finance Committee to ask to join, well, actually, there is nothing we can do. Well, Mr. Porter attends the meeting, but the others refuse. You have to understand. I sign up for a lot of panels and subcommittees, over 10. It's really tough for me. Why? Because I'm just doing my duty. You can call me names saying that I filibuster or what. It doesn't really matter what you say today. I ask the loyalists. Go ask C.Y. Leung. Ask him to change his strategy. Don't use struggle as a motto. If he said, no, that's not my way, then Hong Kong people will hear you. Mr. Leung Sing, you're talking about unilateralism. We only have one we have a chief executive criticizing students. Is he sick in the head? Even well, Mao Zedong got 5 students and scolded them because there are 5 typical enemies in the struggle. And if our government thinks about the good of Hong Kong people, and if a legislator has dignity and self-esteem, then they should tell C.Y. Leung to change. Mr. Leung Sing, I think you're quite close to C.Y. Leung. Please tell him. Leung Kwok Hong said that don't be confrontational. Tone it down. Don't shift the responsibility of the failure of the constitutional reform onto the opposition. He told the Communist Party that he would be able to do it. Isn't this unilateralism? I asked you not to put down a straitjacket like the one in the August MPCSC decision. I said that it's very easy to revoke an MPCSC decision. Wait till March. It's easy. There are a lot of MPCSC delegates here. Tell the central authority. Do you have a question for Mr. Porter, Mr. Leung? I think he's done well. Well, he's an example. Oh, no, I shouldn't use this word. Well, he's a case in point. He will swim upstream, and he will act in a proactive way. Well, he knows it's difficult. He knows he will have a difficult time here. People will make it difficult for him, and yet he's here. When you talk about colluding with the tiger and ask for his skin, I actually think about another story. A person went to the mountain and took an arduous journey. Well, it's actually a film, and it's been remade. There are two people. One of them took an arduous journey to fulfill his objective. Well, don't be Wang Lim Gui. Next, Mr. Albert Chan. Well, I think Mr. Leung Kwok Hong should not humiliate himself in front of Communist Party members by showing off. In relation to Mr. Dare's application to join, I think it's their basic right. We don't mean to deprive them of this basic right. But they should not distort the truth and shift responsibility. Mr. Porter proffered an explanation, and I accept that. Well, it's difficult for me to tell whether each and every explanation of each member is right or not. But unless I have proof what his real reason to ask to join is, and I find that unacceptable, I will not be able to veto that. After they've joined, they may make Pan-Democrats the minority, but if they have a proper reason to join, I cannot vote against them. It's just like last year when I asked to join the ESC on behalf of Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. The loyalists voted against me. Mr. Porter is different. And I think it's a typical Hong Kong communist way of ruling. When they have power, they will trample on others' rights. Well, if you ask for democracy from the Communist Party, you are actually asking for the tiger for its skin. You ask C.Y. Leung to change. Well, it's wrong to say that you're asking the tiger for its skin. Actually, you're just, you can't simply get across to him. I think it's I think C.Y. Leung is suffering from some kind of pathological illness. He should be sent to Castle Peak. Well, unless there are new reasons, I would support Mr. Zhe's application. Well, for the others, if they shift the responsibility onto their assistants, I will definitely vote against them, because they frame the assistants and make them shoulder something that has nothing to do with them. And I do think that these assistants should sue these legislators for libel, because it will affect their future application to other jobs, because they blame them for making mistakes, and results in a member not being able to join. And when they apply for another job, say in a large company, then their credibility or their ability will be doubted. It should be made clear to everyone that, let me have it on the record that I don't believe that when members said their assistants have made mistakes and cause them to not able to join, I think it's a pack of lies.
And also, he was not on the ESC last year when members rejected my application to join. Well, it's just let me just say a joke about this. I hope this is not a case of theft from the member. And let me respond briefly. I know that we should not try to drive people to the corner. There should be no unilateralism, and we should not adopt a struggle mentality. As for the accusation of distortion of facts or blaming the assistants, I think it's important that I should come to explain myself. And some pro-establishment members may think that I have damaged the solidarity of the camp, and I should stay with the flock. But I'm more concerned about the development of quality democracy in this council. That's why I've chosen to walk down this path alone. Mr. Uchiwai, well, I've heard the answers given by Mr. Porcher to questions raised by members. Whether you agree with him or not, he has clearly demonstrated that he would not try to shirk his responsibility. And other members on the ESC are not trying to make things difficult for other members. But if you shirk your responsibility, it can lead to a lot of queries. Since C.Y. Leung has assumed the post of CE, he has shown that he would shirk his responsibility by hiding behind the 1,200 strong election committee, and with the support of the CCP, he would blatantly ignore views from other people. When the CE or people in the political structure who are not enjoying any legitimacy, there are bound to be problems like this. So Mr. Ng Leung Sing has compared pan-democrats to tigers. But we are facing tigers in other panels, because here we calmly listen to the representations of those who would like to apply for membership, late membership, and the other members, except Mr. Paul Chair, have responded in a very blatant way that they would not care if their applications are rejected. They would just go to the FC to get the membership. It's just like the constitutional reform package. Everything is blamed on the attitude of no cooperation of Pan Democrats, and Pan Democrats are hindering the advancement and preventing people from pocketing whatever they can pocket first. But as I've pointed out, we are elected members. We have all the right to exercise political judgment, just like what we are doing here. We have to exercise our political judgment regarding whether your application should be accepted. If you come here and state your case clearly, then we will carefully consider whether you should be allowed to join. But these members don't want to do that. It's just like in the discussion for the political reform. Pan Democrats said that they would veto this fake universal package for universal suffrage. And there are consequences. In many people's description, this is just a midway house. And if you think that the public opinion is on your side, you can always invoke Article 50 of the Basic Law and dissolve this council, and in a re-election you have your way if you win the election. I think, to say the least, Mr. Paul Chair has discharged whatever is required of him, and he has come here to explain why he wants to join the ESC late. On this basis, I would like to accept. I would say I accept his application. Mr. Paul Chair, I hope that my choice and my preferred approach will not lead to adverse comments on other members or CY Leung. I hold a public office. I think public interest comes first, and a personal interest should come second. Mr. Yip Kyun Yuen. Well, this time 17 members have applied for lay membership. We should seriously consider their applications. And when so many of them have given the same ground for late submission, and even the format of the submission, the letters, is very similar. So it's not just a question of late application. We need to consider their request seriously. Coming back to the application of Mr. Paul Chair, well, he's very sincere, and I think I will respect his justifications. So I think we should agree to allow the application. Although I may not see eye to eye in respect of many issues with other members, but in the council, it's important that we respect the divergent views. Whether you concur with other members is not the most important thing. But we should allow everyone to work in accordance with rules of procedure, and we should work and respect each other. Well, I would just say that I echo the views expressed by the member. All right, if there's no further questions, I would like to put on record they have talked about quality democracy and the work of our committees. I make reference to the committees in the parliaments of Germany and UK. Well, the membership usually is 10 to 12 members, and the MPs would join committees according to their interests and ability, but their choices are not always accepted because they have party whips and chief whips. So not every member can join the committees that they want to join. Some backbenchers might not be able to join even one committee in the first year, and there are clear rules. For example, in UK, in Germany, every MP can only join 1 to 2 committees because there's so much business to deal with, a lot of papers to read. I just want to put on record that given our resources, members' resources, there's a big gap between our resources and the administration's resources. Some members have joined 7, 8, or even 9, 10, 12 committees and panels. There's a high call, a high demand on our time, and it's bordering on impossibility. If we want to have quality council culture, and the fact that other parliaments will allow their members to join 1 or 2 committees, and the committee members will spend and devote a lot of time to the committee business. So I would like to put this on record. And now I will put Mr. Porcha's application to the vote. With those in favor of accepting Mr. Porcha's application, please raise your hands. All right, now we'll proceed to a division. The division bell will be rung for 5 minutes.
而家進行表決，請各位。
Voting begins. Please press the present button and before you cast your vote.
喺我宣佈表決結果前呢，請委
Before I announce the result, members, please check your votes. Voting closes. Result displayed. "21 present, 24 no against and no abstention." I declare the motion passed. That is, Mr. Paul Jie will become a member of the ESC. Thank you, members, and I welcome Mr. Paul Jie for joining. We have finished with the discussion item. The order for voting of the remaining 16 members will be sent to members. Yes? Well, I have to say something about the remaining 16. I've said something about their assistants. I won't ask the members to name their assistants, but I've already said it openly that I don't believe the reasons about assistants making mistakes, and I'm happy to let them answer. And if they do not want to answer, then give us information about what exactly happened. When they give the instruction to the assistants, what are the instructions, what mistakes have been made. I would like a clear account. Without the clear account, then I will move a motion to condemn the members for framing their assistants and making a false statement. Thank you. Mr. Lau Kwok-hong, I note that it is it's kind of like a gang. Well, apart from Wong Ting Kong, no one else signed on time. Well, Mr. Wong Ting Kong was the first one to come out to support CY Leung. I suspect that the DAB as a group does not support CY Leung. If it's all from just the same group, then they only need one representative. I think there's a conspiracy here, a serious one. You don't understand? Miss Emily Lau. I agree that members should be responsible for their actions. Of course, assistance will be given to them. But no matter what the assistants do, they have to be responsible for their own actions. And they should not use their assistants as excuses. It's the operation of your office. I hope members will understand and accept that they have the final responsibility. Otherwise, in the future, when something else happens, they blame the assistant again. If your assistant is not doing enough, then it's your responsibility, isn't it? I hope that they will give a clear explanation to this subcommittee. I believe the assistants are listening to the meeting, not just their assistants, but every assistant as well. We have to be fair. Members have to be responsible for their own action. If some people are not able to assist them, then it's about the operation of their office, and still they have to be responsible for the operation of the office. I've heard members' views, and we'll consider it. Mr. Alan Leung. From what I've heard, you will send letters to the remaining 16 members to notify them about the order. Please ask them to send a letter telling them that we unanimously voted to let Mr. Paul Tse join. I don't know whether this will affect how the remaining 16 members deal with their application. Please give them this piece of information. Thank you, Mr. Leung. Well, meeting adjourned when there are no other members who would like to speak.